In this video, man, we're going to be breaking down every single WWE action figure on these shelves, and not just the ones that go wall to wall right here, the big wall in the back. We're going to be breaking down the rest of the room as well. Now, this is not a room tour or anything like that, but if you've ever wanted a detailed look or a zoomed in shot of all these different figures on the wall, today is going to be the day, man, because we're going to go through every single figure on these shelves and every shelf in this entire room and just showcase it, man. So stay tuned. Buckle up, grab a snack, and let's get into it. So I guess what I'm going to do today is start with this shelf over here, which is going to be some Dolph Zigglers and stuff. And then I'm going to take you through every single portion of the room and zoom in and showcase every single shelf. And just kind of give you a breakdown of what that shelf is, showcase the figures, maybe give you a little nugget of information about each one. And again, it won't be every single figure, but my goal today is just kind of give you a detailed look. We haven't done this in a while, and I was looking around the room, and I kind of want to get a, memento about the current state of it. And I'm not even going to fix anything, man. So if there's a weird one with a head missing or whatever, I'll give you a nugget about that. I'll tell you why that is, or maybe there's something weird about the shelf. We'll get into all that today, man, but let's get into it and start off with these shelves and get into the entire thing. So this first shelf we're looking at, man, is going to be my Dolph Ziggler shelf. And on this shelf specifically, I have every single one of my Dolph Zigglers. I think there may be one other one across the room, but anybody that has been around the collection a long time, you've been around the channel, you know that we have quite a bit of them. This Dolph Ziggler's, he was one of my favorites when he was in WWE. Got a little ring sign worn hoodie over here. And so this is kind of a detailed look. Now, on all these shelves, I usually have them in timeline order. And of course, that's not always the case. Sometimes they get out of whack. But you also see quite a bit of customs. These are customs that I, have had made over a number of years, like way back when the channel first started, around 2016, 2017, whatever it was. And you'll see here, you have some of my favorite Ziggler gears of all time. And I wish that Mattel would have made some of these, but of course that didn't happen. But we did get some, we got that Elite 70 Chase right there. You had some cool basics and some different figures. And then we do have some customs. You got the SummerSlam Elite up there, which is one of my favorites as well. And probably one of my favorite figures of that year. I think it came in at number 2 or something like that. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler, man. Going to miss him. I hate that, the figures got the best they've ever been. But at least we got one in there before, he eventually left WWE. Now over here in the middle section above my roster shelves and some other stuff, we just have some random elites and ultimates that don't really have a spot. Usually I have characters together, but then we have other portions of the room where, I just keep certain figures. Like I try to keep my ultimates or throwback elites on this top shelf for the most part, but it doesn't always end up that way. You also notice right here, we have kind of a slew of Jake the Snake. So sometimes if I have an abundance of a certain character, I'll try to keep them together. And we just had that most recent Jake come through the door, and so I had to take all those down, and that's what the snakes look all crazy. But you have some Coliseum Collection figures, some from the vault here with the Dudleys. You got, the Shark. You got a custom Chris Benoit, and then it goes on into some Mr. Perfects down there. But I'm going to have to move before I fall off this damn chair. And then we come to the forward right here, man, and we're just continuing on. Again, just having a look at these shelves and some different throwback elites and stuff, man. In a perfect world, I would have all of these in their own eras and have fixed up shelves nice with, you go guys in their respective eras and, who they wrestled against in different feuds and have it all organized. But this is kind of the situation we're in with the size of the collection and different things like that. But yeah, I just try to keep it with usually older Ultimates or Coliseum Collection and then just throwback figures for the most part up here. And there you go. You just have a random Crime Time up here. But then, again, you get the Nation of Domination. Then it just kind of stretches into some other Elites Ultimates. You got a random Pat McAfee in there. That tends to happen. So, yeah, man, there's no really method to the madness up here. It's just some figures that I didn't necessarily want to put in a drawer or keep in storage. I wanted to, put them on display. So that's what we have for this top shelf. If we come just below that shelf, you will get into this sort of manager suited figure style shelf. Now, there's no, again, method to the madness. It's just keeping all of my suited figures together for the most part. There are some that are missing. I don't have the Build-A-Figure Booker T. I don't have the Build-A-Figure Jim Ross. I don't have the Build-A-Figure Teddy Long. I don't have the Build-A-Figure Corporate Kane. So there are some older Build-A-Figures and some certain suited figures that are not represented right here. You kind of have like a custom fix-up Matt Cardona right there. But just some random suited figures sometimes and maybe a fix-up here or there. Just some random figures that come together. Sometimes I'll try to kit bash a suited figure for maybe a setup or something like that. But that is what we have for the most part over there. And then we do have that couple Vince McMahon figures over there, which one fun fact about the collection is back in the day, I got rid of my, Network Spotlight Toys R Us exclusive Elite, and I really wish I never would have got rid of that. I think I have the body, but I don't have the head sculpt. And the head sculpt's really the most important part, so that sucks. That's a figure I need to get back. But yeah, this is just a suited figure, or, you know, just random figures in suits for the collection. And then coming below, we do have the roster shelves, which are everybody's favorite, right? We have the Vindication roster, and one thing that's interesting here, man, we made this monster Braun Strowman, and then they just announced yesterday that Braun Strowman may be playing Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th reboot. What are the odds of that, man? We're going to have some Easter eggs with this guy probably in the horror setups and things to come, but you just have the Vindication roster over here. You know, just a short little pan through here. Got El Generico up there. You know, I love the 3D printed Vindication sign right there. Hand painted by yours truly here. But yeah, so a couple figures missing. If you see some figures missing, I don't know who even is this? Hold up. Who is this supposed to be? I can now remember off the top of the dome who is supposed to be right here. But they're missing. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe somebody can put it together. But then you just have the rest of them here. Belts are a little bit wacky because, you know, I take figures down for comparisons. But then you go below, and we do have the MDT Live roster shelf. You got Roman Reigns, got the championships. Again, it's a little bit hectic because I'll take a figure down for a comparison. Got to move the belt. And then when I put them back, they get kind of, you know, wish-washy and all those different things. But just kind of venturing through here, got some fix-ups, some different things going on. You got Ultimate Edition Randy Orton, got the Dolph Ziggler we talked about earlier. Never finished that My Damn Toys sign just because there's just such a long priority list. I guess if I ever do another painted custom or whatever, I could put that down and just kind of work on it as I go. But little fix-up Kurt Angle, and then it just kind of goes all the way throughout. And I didn't have anywhere for the Nick Aldis. I wanted that Build-A-Figure Nick Aldis to go on this shelf. But then I just kind of ran out of room. So I was like, you know what? There's some space here. We'll put them there. Kind of the same thing with our Ludwig Kaiser right here. So Ludwig Kaiser is supposed to be on this shelf, but this is our current roster shelf. So on this bottom shelf, I just have anybody that is on the current roster and, you know, anything like that. That is kind of what this is supposed to be. So you can pan through. And it started with our champs. I know that it's updated since then, but I just haven't had any time to reorganize or, you know, restructure everything. So you still have John Cena up front. You got Jey Uso there, Jacob Fatu. So this is what happens, man. So the championships get a little bit distraught. Again, figures coming down for comparisons, things like that. But this is supposed to be our quote-unquote current roster right now. But I know that, you know, it gets out of whack and things. But here's just a little pan through for you. And now we're going to move on to the other shelves in the room. And then up above the door over here, you just have some random figures. We got the Ultimate Doink. You have just Alexander Wolf. You got some Andre the Giant. See, this is another one of those things. Like, Andre the Giant doesn't have his own shelf, but we just kind of keep the Andres together. And I know I'm missing probably 3 Andres that Mattel's done. I think we're missing the Hall of Fame 4-pack. We're missing the Toys R Us exclusive. I think the Elite 29 or something like that. So we are missing some, but again, these are just some random figures that go together. And you have some random rarer figures up here like Cassius Ohno. You got a custom Leo Rush over here. Got the Build-A-Figure Nicholas. You know, just again, some random figures pulled together here to put on top of the door, man. I mean, you know, sometimes there's not a method to the madness. And if you come down from there, you go over to this main wall where we have a bunch of superstars plus the MDT sign in the middle. And then we just have figures kind of surrounding that. But on this shelf is our Hulk Hogan shelf. And one thing that we did upgrade over here, I think I showed it off in one video specifically, but we do have this nicely done 3D printed sign here that kind of honors Hulk Hogan. So you got the Hulk Hogan logo. He's ripping his shirt. It says Hulkamania will live forever. And then it's got the ears there for, you know, him unfortunately passing away a few months ago during the summer. So this is just a look at our Hulk Hogan shelf. And actually, I don't even have enough room for all of the Hulk Hogans because we get so many from Mattel. He actually needs to move because there are, I think, 4 or 5 and possibly another one that cannot fit on the shelf. So we have that. I also love that boxing, the boxing glove fix-up right there. That is a fix-up we did forever ago in a random accessory video that I always just kept him like that. It's like an Elite 96 or something, but that is a look at the Hulk Hogans. And then we come up here to the Triple H's, and with Triple H, man, I mean, there are so many nice figures, and I've liked that we've kind of fleshed out this shelf a little bit. You'll see some missing and things like that. And we do have quite a bit of copies of certain figures of Triple H because I have wanted to, you know, make different trunks designs and stuff like that. I still don't feel like we have a proper 2004 Triple H that I would like to see, but we have all the different colored trunks. We are getting the blue gear in the Legends line. I think this year later on, get that Evolution 3-pack over there, stuff like that. But yeah, just continuing on with Triple H's. There's a chunk of Triple H's career that we really don't have just yet in figure form. And I'd say mostly like 2004, 2005 are the main looks that we're missing of Triple H. But then you get over here, you have just some random fix-ups that don't necessarily match any era or anything like that, but it's just some extras and bonuses, man. I used to buy lots off Facebook and different things, and you get extras through the door for fix-ups and customs and things, and then, you know, you look back, you never make any of the customs or you don't fix up anything, and then boom, you end up with more figures and stuff like that, and you don't really have a place for them, but I didn't want them to go anywhere else, so we have them on the shelf. Then we enter into the Macho Mans, missing a lot of Macho Mans. There's so many Macho Mans we're missing in the collection, which need to go back and grab. And I hate that we never got that ultimate of the defining moments that, you know, was going to get re-released, but maybe one day we'll get that one. I guarantee one day we'll get that one. But yeah, we're missing quite a bit of the Macho Man. And then wrapping it up down here, we do finish up with Aleister Black or Malachi Black. Just really didn't have another spot for him, but we do have some Aleister Black figures here. Got a head sculpt missing and stuff like that. But this is a guy that I really would like to see in an Ultimate Edition. And then we do have a Supreme somewhere. I think it's on the AEW figures, but I would like to get an Ultimate Edition of him. I just don't know how much of a priority it is for WWE and Mattel, so we'll see about that. But we finish up this top shelf with Aleister Black. But then we come down to the Dean Ambrose / Jon Moxley section, and it's a bit rough. I mean, these guys are missing hands. This is something that's crazy. These probably fall more often than a lot of others. You can even see these leaning right here. It's because these Moxleys, their legs get a bit loose, and then you have these old Dean Ambroses with the shield legs and stuff like that. You'll see hands missing. Back in the day, man, these used to be some of the only figures with black hand tape. So, you know, if you want a mic holding hand for an RVD or something like that, back in the day when you had single jointed arms or something like that, that is the kind of stuff that you had to look for in the collection. And so I would pull them from the shield Dean Ambrose, and it's just something I never really fixed and came back to, really, because it's just not that big of a priority or something like that for me. And so, you know, other things take precedent and stuff like that. You got the bloody sold out Dean Ambrose right there, which is a cool fix up. He's got the, you know, the kinetic tape or the, you know, the shoulder tape right there on that figure. We painted on that for the Fed. And then you got, you know, different Moxes coming through. You got the Supreme right there. The Blood and Guts one is actually on the AEW figure shelf now, but then it morphs into the Roddy Piper section. Roddy Piper, you know, he's got a couple really good Ultimates. I don't have too many of his Elites there. You got a little bit of a fix-up and stuff like that. Then he goes into the Rey Mysterios. Now, if you've collected Mattel for any amount of time, you know how many damn Rey Mysterios they have given us. And I think there's only maybe one or two missing from here. I could be wrong. I know that, you know, we are missing, I think, one or two. I can see right off rip that we're missing, I think, the Elite 11. Yeah, the Elite 11 I've had, but I've fixed it up before and done some different things. So I can see that one's missing right off the rip. But we do have, you know, other Rey Mysterios. There's just so many Rey Mysterios that they've made over the years. And then, you know, of course, you know, you have some different fix-ups and customs right there. That white and blue one I got from a fan mailbox one time that was really, really cool. I think that was made by Angela, who makes a bunch of the old G-Natty customs and stuff like that. Then it goes into all the different top picks we've gotten. The Batman attire, got the Macho Man Ray, got that Greatest Hits Ray or that Top Picks Ray. Then it goes into the LWO 5-pack, and then you even have the Ultimate Edition. And I want to say there's some other Rays right here that I'm missing. Like the new Top Picks one, I know I don't have that one either, so that's one that I need to track down. But then goes into the Eddie Guerreros. And, of course, we are, this isn't all my Eddie Guerreros. They just wouldn't fit right here, so that's definitely something. And then we finish up this section with just a few Dominic Mysterios. And, again, if people are missing from their shelves, it's because they have, you know, other figures that are on other shelves or something like that. But that is the middle shelf right here that goes right up under this giant MDT sign. And if we go above that, this is one we didn't get to. This is the AJ Styles. They're right up under the Macho Mans and stuff. And really, man, a lot of these AJ Styles I could really get rid of. I really don't like the formula they used to give AJ Styles. So that is one guy that I'd really like to not necessarily get rid of, but I don't know, man. I would like to fix up all of these with this newer formula. I just could never stand AJ Styles' formula, so that's something that bothers me. But we have some really cool customs in here. You got that custom, you know, Hell's Gate AJ in the black and gray, and then you do have the sold out AJ in the light, you know, the light blue, white, and silver. It's a great attire. You got the Ultimate Edition. You got the Elite 104. Then you have the Elite 116. And then we finish up this section with some different Ricochet figures. You even have that custom Bret Hart / Pink gear right there. And then it goes up to the Elite, what was it, 101 or something like that? And then we come on down. We do have the bottom shelf here, which starts off with Ultimate Warrior. And we do have these gold figures kind of chilling on top of this crowdfund stage in the backstage area. You got a John Cena Collector's Edition Elite 118. And then we do have, again, a whole bunch of Ultimate Warrior figures. different figures over the years. You got classic ones. And actually, this is not every Ultimate Warrior. I am missing a handful of Ultimate Warriors. So this is not all of them, but there are quite a few of those. And then it does go into the edges. And I don't have any of his AEW figures over here. Those are mainly Mattel's. And I do have the Elite 94. It's just on the roster shelf or whatever. So I am missing one there. I think that's the Edgeheads one right there that's missing a head sculpt. I don't know where that one is, but it's probably on some other fix-up or something like that. But we do have a bunch of edges. And then you have a couple customs down here. You got the Money in the Bank right there from his win. And then it goes into the beginning there. So we did this one kind of backwards. It's supposed to go left to right, but we went right to left. And then it goes into some Shawn Michaels figures. And with Shawn Michaels, you got that Ghostbusters one. It goes into WrestleMania 26, 25. You got all the long pants Shawns from the vault. Got a couple DXs. Got that new Fan Takeover Ultimate. And then you just work slowly backwards, man. So again, we're not going in left to right order. We're going from the end to the very beginning. And you can kind of see the eras go by and stuff like that. Don't even have every Shawn, I don't think. So there are some definite Shawns that I would like to get in the collection and stuff like that. But, other things, again, take priority, man. You have different aspirations for your collection or just different things that you're working on at every given time and constantly making videos and things like that. So other things take a back seat. But that is every single figure that is on this wall over here. And now we're moving on to the big wall that has so many, I don't even know how many damn figures there are. Maybe somebody can count it down below. So I don't want to do all these down here. There's these, and then you have the walls. I'm mainly trying to focus on the walls today, but I will do a quick, brief overview of all of these and just kind of slow pan through them. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, in a perfect world, in a perfect space where I had unlimited space, or maybe if I could figure out some time to organize everything a little bit differently, you have a certain setup, and then as figures continue coming in, unless you kind of, I don't know, have that figured out beforehand, you can't necessarily just ditch everything and reorganize everything on a whim. And so when that happens, you're constantly getting figures to the door, so you have to kind of adapt rather quickly, or it'll look like a damn bomb went off, and then you have to, I don't know, man, it's like things would never get done. So is this the best way that you could display these or whatever? Absolutely not. Is it the ideal way that I want to display them to this point? Probably not. I used to be all about trying to get them in a single line, but this is the best adaptive way for my collection because when you're constantly doing reviews, things like that, you can, I need these Codys. I can take the Codys off and then put them right back without completely destroying the display or something like that. So that is why you have this sort of butt-to-butt or pre-prom pose or whatever the hell it is. So that is why you get the collection looking like that rather than, some sort of display like this or something like that. Because if you have everybody in a dynamic pose, it would be really difficult to reach in the back, get a dynamic pose down for a comparison or something in a review, and then you have to re-put that figure back. It would just, I don't know, it's not optimal. Now, would it look really good and a lot better and not look as crazy as this? Yes, it would. But, sometimes you just got to make some sacrifices. But over here, you have some more figures here that this is kind of a newer section because we've had to do a bunch of rearrangings. But you have Jericho, R-Truth, Goldberg, Hurricane. Again, very random, not a lot of method to the madness per se in some cases. Like Batista and Bobby Lashley don't really go together. But again, it's just sort of grouping figures together and things like that. And honestly, I think I have some figures in the closet that don't even have a spot. That like Drew McIntyre isn't even out here. You have Daniel Bryan that's not out here. Samoa Joe's not out here. So there's some other figures like that, of course. But now it's time to get into the giant wall. So now we're getting into one of the sections that's probably one of my least favorite, but not really any fault of his own here. We have the Kevin Owens here, man. And we made this shelf, and this figure, or this section just has a really outdated look because all the arms are massive. They're single jointed. They're not very good. And there's always these figures and I don't know, man, it's just like they're so repetitive. And I know you could say that about a lot of the figures, but these are legit just, I don't know, the base isn't good. And now that he has tattoos, you can't really update these guys because the arms are so big. The tattoos, you're saying, you could buy the updated ones with the tattoos on there, but you'd have to remove all the tattoos. It's just not a simple process to kind of update these figures, but you have all these Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens, one of my favorite wrestlers, but man, it is very difficult to kind of fix these, and I just don't really care for the figures all that much, and there's not really much, that people really would want these. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just not the greatest figures, but I don't know. I love Kevin Owens, and I like his figures. His updated figures are fantastic, though. I'd say from here on, man, with the new tattoos, you got better articulation now and, some really good Kevin Owens figures. But I know they have the loose feet stuff, but you have some defining moments in here. You got Royal Rumble KO, you got Hell's Gate KO with the bloody face, the terrible Ultimate Edition, and then it does morph into Sami Zayn. So, we do get the Sami Zayns in here, missing a couple here and there for different fix-ups and stuff. And then it does go into a really weird Johnny Gargano section where none of them have Johnny Gargano syndrome, as you can see, which is absolutely beautiful. But you have a suited Johnny Gargano, which is a kind of a different take. And then you go through the middle here. This is the middle section, which we took a look at. And then we morph into Adam Cole. So we have a bunch of Adam Coles here. I used to have Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish here, but I did make some cuts there because they wouldn't fit. And I still have them, of course, but they're just not in this section. You also have one that's missing a head and things. But then we go into the Rock section, which we do have some other members of the Bloodline on here. I think the Peter Maivia figure may be on this shelf. You got, Rocky Johnson and stuff. But we do have a bunch of Rock figures here, different looks and moments in the career and things. Some, again, are out of whack. You got the Elite 115, I think, right here that's out of position. You have some other figures that are out of position, of course. But, yeah, definitely need to upgrade some of these figures or update them. But this is what we have going all the way down. And we did have to move some figures here because we're getting so many damn Rock figures. So I did have to make some different moves and such. And, again, they're way out of whack. Yeah, Peter Maivia, they're not in any order. So I do need to go in here and maneuver them and stuff like that. But that is a look at all of our different Rock Elites, Ultimates, things like that. And you come up, we do have Brock Lesnar over here. You got Honeycomb Mouth over there. Got some cool figures here, dude. Brock Lesnar, now that he's back, we're going to get more Brock Lesnar. So I look forward to that because the best Ultimate Edition that they've ever made is the Ultimate Edition Series 15. It's the best Ultimate that they've ever made is the Brock Lesnar. And I think there's one here. I know that I have one here. I think there's one more on the roster shelves. But, man, dude, Brock Lesnar has some pretty damn good figures. It all started with that first Ultimate. Now, he has some good Elites as well. But he has 3 Ultimates, and all 3 of them are Ultimate, if you will. They're really damn good. So I look forward to that. But the Brock's got a lot of different Brock figures in here. He has some really special figures. I like the Elite 99 as well with the Chase. I think those were great. The 3-pack was great. He has some really damn good figures. So I look forward to some more Brock Lesnar figures. And then we do have Cody Rhodes here. This is, of course, not every Cody Rhodes. And we do have his 2 Ultimates right here. And we also have the Mattel Creations one that should probably be here today if I am not mistaken. But you have the Ultimate Edition Series 21, the Mattel Creations, and then you have a bunch of different Elites. You got the Defining Moments Torn Pec, and then, of course, we've had a lot of them, but they just couldn't fit right here. As you can see, Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes kind of take up this big section here, but you have a bunch of Cody Rhodes Elites, and then it goes from wrestling gear into his promo gear, and then from his promo gear, his suited figures or whatever, it goes into his AEW figures, which get into the Supreme. You have the Unrivaled, the Unmatched, all the different exclusives, and all those different things, and from there, it goes into his Stardust figures or his Greatest Hits Cody figures. So it's not every Cody. I am missing some other Codys. I do have the new WrestleMania Stardust as well that's not on display. So there is that. And then we get into a very big section of Seth Rollins. And again, this is not every Seth Rollins. I have so many Seths, man, so many Codys, so many Cenas, so many this, that, and the others. Some figures do not fit on their respective shelves, and it's just the way that, that it is here. But I'm just going to pan through, slowly showcasing these. You got some different customs. You got the Punisher Seth, Buzz Lightyear Seth, probably one of the more notable figures on this entire wall. You got, different customs and stuff like that. Some fantasy gears, a couple holes here. We made some of these figures on Surgery and stuff like that, just using different Seth Rollins figures. And we could probably do some of that some more now that we have a new formula, but got some more Elite 86 Rollins in here, maybe Elite 86. I think it's Elite 86. Then you got some more. You got a suited Rollins there. Got some more figures and fix-ups going on throughout. And again, you're supposed to go left to right to kind of see their career unfold. And then, of course, you do have some that don't fit necessarily. There's a better take on that Greatest Hit Seth Rollins that they kept the same formula from the cash-in exclusive to Toys R Us. But going through here, you got the Elite 64. And again, you just take different figures, multiple figures at the same time. And then, you get multiple copies and then you make fix-ups. You fix the head sculpt, change out a part or two. You can make a really cool, creative, brand new figure. So there is that. But then you have the TNF figure. You got the Shield 3-pack. Got a little Slammy Award fix-up. And then we do have the Elite 45, which is still one of my all-time favorites. I think that figure is so good. Then you work back. You got Cash In. You got Money in the Bank Win. Got the WrestleMania figure. You got WWE champion, and then it goes all the way back to Shield, Seth Rollins, which we used to have the NXT Elite. I don't know what happened to it. I think I broke it down for parts. So that's one of those things where, you know, you make a sacrifice and then you never come back to it, and you hate to see it because it leaves a hole in the collection. And then we move up and we have the Finn Balor section. So again, got a few of those top picks for customs and stuff like that the pants or trunks are never done. Then you enter into a section that just has a bunch of different Finn Balor attires, you know, different trunks colors and fix-ups and, you know, different attires over the years, 2017, 2018. Then you'll have some more modern ones. You got some fantasy attires in there. Royal Rumble 2019, I think it was, where he took on Brock Lesnar, which was a pretty interesting one. You know, I really wish they'd go back to the drawing board or go back and give us some of these other figures updated. Like, imagine an Elite 74 Finn Balor updated with double jointed arms and true effects and stuff. I mean, it had true effects, but double jointed arms would be nice to see, and just some different things they could really do to spice these figures up. Then you have some jackets in there. Then you also have Elite 82 up here with some different fix-ups like the arms and stuff. And then it goes from non-Demon Finn Balor into Demon Finn Balor. So you get a bunch of these demons, some different customs and fix-ups coming up. But you have all the different Mattel demons they've made. Another one where they could go back and redo the demon figures, especially in Ultimate Edition form. Got a random suited Finn Balor right there, which I really, really like. Kind of looks like him in a suit. Then you get the Ultimate Edition Finn Balor in there, one of my favorite Ultimates they've ever done. Got quite a few of that one. And then after the Ultimate, you get into a bunch of customs, man. You have a bunch of custom demons, ones that Mattel never did, and then it gets into some Prince Devitt's that Mattel never did or never will do. And, you know, those are just from a time when, you know, we were making a lot of customs on the channel. Those were made by Showstopper Custom Figs. Those are really old customs, man, on the channel. If you've been around the block, you know about those right there. And then it gets into some Judgment Day figures. And this is not all my Judgment Day Finns. Again, just you run out of room, man. You run out of room. I don't know why the damn exposure's blowing out on me, but that is what we have so far. And then we get into some Kenny Omegas here in the middle. Wanted to put those guys side by side. And, you know, Kenny Omega has some of the best figures that AEW has made, man. AEW and Jazzwares, some of their Kenny Omega figures were just so damn good, man. The Unrivaled 4, the Unmatched Series 1, not to mention the 2 different Supreme figures that they made of him. So, dude, I really enjoyed the AEW Jazzwares Kenny's, and if they never make another one, or maybe we'll get one last hoopla in 2026 or whatever the hell it is, man, I hope that they absolutely crush it with that. But I've enjoyed all the different Kenny Omegas we've gotten from AEW and Jazzwares, and I look forward to, you know, any other ones that they make. I'm all aboard that, man. I love the Kenny figures. They're some of the best ones that Jazzwares makes. But then we move into the CM Punk figures, so we got a lot of CM Punks. They're not in any order whatsoever. So you got some AEW mixed in with the WWE Mattel ones. You got some throwbacks. You got the SES in there. You got some different ringside exclusives. You got, you know, different fix-ups of different elites. And I imagine we're going to get some of these re-released in the Greatest Hits line or from the Vault. We've already seen that a couple times, so we'll see if that continues. But, yeah, the CM Punk's heavy on CM Punk the last year or two since he came back to WWE at War Games. And so you do have a bunch of different CM Punks that have come in. You got the new Ultimate, you got Top Picks, Elite 115, Ringside Exclusive, Mattel Creations. I mean, they are making all kinds of ones, and they're making even more. We do know that we're getting even more than this, so this is not all of them. We also have the Mattel Creations, the Doctor of Thugonomics one that's up for order on Mattel Creations. So there are quite a bit of CM Punks coming, and that's why I kind of made this whole, because I knew that CM Punk would be getting so many damn figures. So we just have a bunch of fix-up CM Punks right here. Then we come up from CM Punk and we do move into the Stone Colds, which probably just this year, man, or the last couple years, we've gotten a just influx of great Stone Cold Steve Austin figures, including this brand new Ultimate Edition right here that I think is just so damn good. I don't know who's going to beat it on the best Ultimates of the year, but we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. But we do have the Stone Cold Steve Austin figure, and you just have a bunch of fix-ups here. And I look forward to making more, of course. But with the upgrading formula to the Stone Cold Steve Austins, these figures are going to get a lot better. So you'll see them. They have the smaller shoulders, the smaller arms and stuff. And there's still some really good figures on here. But certainly these are going to get better, and, you know, we'll make better fix-ups as they continue to release better Stone Colds with the bigger formula and the fixes and stuff like that. Like, this is the old Ultimate Edition formula. Now that they've upgraded that, you got many of that. You got the new Elite 122 coming that I'm excited for. And so, yeah, Stone Cold is one of my favorites of all time. So we do have a bunch of looks of him. But I don't know, the last, month or so, I've been doing a lot of different changes. And so a lot of them are missing head sculpts. You got some different things that we got to do there. So we got to fix him up. But then we morph into Kurt Angle. So we do have a lot of these. And, You can see all of the different Kurt Angles here. I'd like to have more Kurt Angles, to be honest with you, but still waiting on them to make these boots officially from Mattel, and hopefully the next time they do that. I know we have the new Ultimate coming, but it doesn't have the right boots either, so we'll see. But we do have all the different Kurt Angles, definitely one of my favorites there. And then we also have RVD, who's another one of my top guys. I love RVD, so you have all of his different figures here. We got the Ultimate. You have the unreleased one. This was a cool one. You have the unreleased Chase RVD. They got canceled. So that one's nice. I also have the From the Vault one that I've still not unboxed, so I got to do that. But we have some different RVD figures right here that I really like. I'd love to see some more RVDs. I know that we have the Legends one coming. Really excited for that one. Been waiting on that one for a very long time. So definitely want to add that one up here, and we'll definitely move some stuff around so we can get some more, man. I mean, there's just so many singlets and different things they can do for RVD. And then the same thing goes for Jeff Hardy, man. Another guy that I love to collect, one of my favorites ever. So you have a couple AEW Jeffs here. I also have the Rainbow Blacklight one over there somewhere, but you got the Willow Jeff, and then you do have a bunch of sort of, you know, we take Jeff Hardy's and we just fix them up. If you go through the history of action figure surgery, man, you'll see different fix-ups, different attires, different figures where we made these custom face paints. So you have different face paints of Jeff Hardy here, different sleeves and shoes and pants. I mean, there's just so many different creative things you can do with Jeff Hardy, and that's really the fun of his figures. They're so toyetic, so we do have some fantasy attires, and then you get into some just different fix-ups that we've made using his different elites. Really love that Elite 70 in the pink with the lightning and the white. That's probably one of the better Mattel Jeff Hardys I've ever made. But, you know, you can fix a head sculpt, you can swap a head, and you can really change the figure all around. Then you get into the Elite 67, and you keep going on. You got the top picks. You got that FYE Elite 2-pack from a few years back. Got the entrance grates, head sculpt. You got some different custom heads and stuff like that. Jeff Hardy, man, just so damn toyetic. Like, look at all these different Jeffs, man. They just look so good. So his figures are some of my favorites to collect. But I really wish he would come back to Mattel so we could get some more Jeff Hardys. So we can get, you know, I mean, there's so many, man. Like, imagine an Ultimate Edition 2-pack of the Hardys, or just some different box sets they could do with the Hardy Boys. So maybe one day, I think that's definitely going to take place. But until then, we'll just continue to collect these older ones and make fix-ups and different customs and continue to grow that Jeff Hardy selection. And then we move up from Jeff Hardy. We do have the Randy Orton. So you got a bunch of Ortons here from the beginning of his career. You got that 3-pack right there in the middle. Got some different customs and different stuff here. So what these figures are too is we'll take some of the ones with modern trunks and just do like a torso swap, and you can make a classic Orton on the newer trunks, like that white Elite right there. He never wore that, but it's just sort of a cool figure you can make. And then we do have a bunch of customs right here and different head sculpts and trunks of different defining moments of his career, different moments in his career that my buddy BEW helped me with. You got some custom head sculpts in here, different trunks and moments and WrestleManias and things like that going throughout. And you have a bunch of his more modern elites on different trunks and stuff like that. And similar to the classic trunks, you can take the classic trunks and you can torso swap it and head swap it. And then you have a modern Randy Orton in the classic trunks. So that's kind of what you can do there with different Randy Orton figures. But Randy Orton's another one of my goats, so I love collecting his figures. You know, he's tatted up. He's got some cool trunks and everything. We have some more Randy Ortons coming soon that I'm excited about. But there's a look at the Randy Ortons. And then we morph into the big dog over here. So like the rest, man, you start with the Roman Reigns. You got the NXT Elite. And then it just kind of morphs into, you know, starting out with a Shield. And then it morphs into moving into his singles career. So you have a bunch of old school Romans, which looking back now, they're kind of crazy to look at. You got the Elite 45. You got that Network Spotlight Elite, which is WrestleMania 32 in the gold. And then we have just a bunch of different vest colors. So some of them don't work. You know, you have the brown, the orange. And back in the day, man, it was so cool because you could just arm swap the basics with the Elite and then switch the vest. And you'd have a Elite conversion of the basic, which was something that we did for a while. But after they switched the arm articulation, it kind of ruined that entire thing. But you still had some classic Elites that were really good. Like the Elite 65 in the red right there was a great one. You have the Elite 84 was really good. The Elite, I mean, there's just so many. There was a lot of damn good Roman Reigns figures. But then you move into when he returned, and then you get some really cool fix-ups of the Tribal Chief era over here. And that kind of morphed into, you know, the head of the table, the Tribal Chief. That era of Roman Reigns was something that we were booking on my Pick Federation and Pick Fed way back in the day, and it was kind of that's like one of my favorite wrestling characters ever, man. Like the TV and the promos and his presentation and everything was just upgraded significantly. So we have a bunch of these figures here. Shout out to my man Giovanni for hooking us up with some of these track suits and custom figures or custom, you know, t-shirts and stuff like that in the collection because they look so damn good. But there's so many great Roman Reigns in the collection off this fix-up. Like this figure right here, these Bloodline figures were made way before he morphed into the Tribal Chief on WWE TV and, you know, formed the bloodline. Like, we were doing that way beforehand, and so it's really cool to see that actually play out in real life and them actually, you know, doing that and seeing his character and the way he was portrayed and kind of morphing into that just, I don't know, brought him into a whole nother level of superstar. So all these figures are really excellent. And of course, those go on and on. You have the all-white shield, you know, sort of Roman Reigns. That was a nice hit. That figure's actually terrible, or custom's terrible, but everybody kind of liked it. Then you have the swim trunks Roman Reigns, and then you morph into kind of a more modern day, all these different modern day elites. Got some promo gear, some fix-ups, and then we do have all these more recent Roman Reigns, you know, the Elite 117, the Elite, you know, Hall of Champions 4-pack, all these different Romans. And then we have some Usos. But the Usos, they have been falling a lot, so I have to restructure them. But I'll show you what they look like right now, which is terrible. But I've been trying to set them up, man. This is all of my Usos. So you have Jay, Jimmy, all the different looks of the Usos are right here, man. So I have tried to, I want to put them up there, but they keep falling and stuff like that. So I'm like, dude, I don't even care. So for now, they're just chilling on this table, and it's really sad. So don't think of it. They just sit here. It's not like they're getting moved and everything like that. I just put them here for now until I can actually get them on the shelf without them falling over. And we're finishing it up with the John Cena's, man. You guys know this is probably the most extensive or deepest collection that we have here, starting out in the left corner. And we start from the prototype John Cena all the way up to current day. And, of course, not every look is represented, not every single thing ever. But one of the long-standing goals of the Cena collection, or just my collection in general, has been to try to get every single look of John Cena in figure form up on the shelf. And we have quite a bit here and everything like that. We're missing a lot of the Dr. Thugonomics looks with different jerseys and hat combinations and things like that. But this is a good start. You know, I do like it. I mean, I've even thought about maybe sacrificing a good portion of the collection to try and make that goal happen, since, you know, I do find him as the GOAT, you know, to celebrate the farewell tour. There's a lot of things there, but I'm going to have to get down to showcase the rest of it. But this is definitely my favorite part of the entire WWE action figure collection that I have. You know, you morph through 2007, 2008, and then you move on up. You got 2009 into 2010 into 2011, and it just unravels, man. You got all the different Fruity Pebbles shirts, all the different looks that he wore through 2011 into 2012. And if they're shirtless and don't have anything on them, it's because it's supposed to be a defining moment. So right there, you're supposed to have the Money in the Bank briefcase. Got the Rise Above Cancer attires through 2013, all the different shirts and stuff that he wore. Got the big gold win there. Got the Royal Rumble win. Even stronger t-shirt. Then it goes up into the lime green. I got to fix that hat right there. But then, yeah, you just keep on going, man. It goes into 2015 on up into 2016 on up. And, yeah, it's just all the different shirts, looks that he has worn over the course of the career. You got some championships thrown in there. I don't have all the championships on display that we could, but... And again, we are missing some looks. We're missing some attires and things like that, but it goes all the way up to the collector's edition right there. And up to that collector's edition, it's pretty much in timeline order, in order of releases and different looks that we've gotten from Mattel and some different fix-ups and customs. But from there, it's just all repeats and other looks of Cena that I have. So you have the From the Vault, which is a re-release of the Defining Moments. You got the Ghostbusters Elite, the Fast and Furious Hollywood Elite, a Lance Catamaran, a custom Marine John Cena. You got the MDT Pick Fed, Champ is Here. When he was MDT champion, you have this custom My Damn Toys attire from my buddy Cody. You got the other greatest hits. You have another Ruthless Aggression Elite. And then it's just a bunch of fix-ups or using different figures of John Cena to make other looks of him that may not be necessarily accurate. They're just kind of made for cool figures. And then you even have Super Cena down there. So again, you have these fix-up Cenas. Then it goes into Super Cena. And then we have just a bunch of elites that I have not put into the timeline, because when you take one figure down, you have to shift them all down. So if I wanted to include these Cenas down here, like in that green shirt, you have some of these other figures like the new Royal Rumble Elite, the From the Vault. You have the 3-pack Cenas, these new Cenas that we just got through the door. To put those in the order, you'd have to take pretty much the whole shelf down. And it's just like something that we haven't gotten to yet. So it's just kind of what we have to live with. But you can see the John Cena figures go from wall all the way to the other wall down there. So it's just absolutely insane. And then the last shelf we have here is the Bray Wyatt / Fiends, and then it does morph into Matt Hardy. And again, there's just holes here, man. There's certain Bray Wyatts that aren't here, or certain figures that I don't have in the collection, or maybe they're moved or something like that. But then it goes into Matt Hardy, and it goes all the way down to the current day that we have. So this is what we have here, man. Just a bunch of Matt Hardys, Got some AEW ones in there, and I do have some other ones that are in the AEW figures, but nothing like this. This is every shelf in the WWE figure office and showing every single figure in detail. But that is going through every single shelf in my WWE action figure collection, or at least in the office right here, man. Again, one day we're going to do a room tour. It's probably going to be like a 2-hour video. I have no idea, man, but we'll go into more detail about more shelves and take a look at all these different things. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You know, we haven't done one of these style videos in a long time, but I just want to showcase it a little bit and showcase it. So I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are and everything like that. So let me know what your favorite figure is or favorite shelf, or maybe let me know about your collection or whatever the hell it is, man. But a huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support. As always, you guys are unbelievable. But I appreciate you, man. I'm getting the hell out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.
And you can't tell me about my life and all my highs and lows. Want me to change, but I can't change. It's the way I roll. I kept it smooth and broke some rules, but this the life I chose. They say they love you till they hurt you. You know how I go.
I'm getting sick and tired to close my eyes, and then the sun come up, and it's all just the same. Same old, every single day. Like, what am I supposed to do when there's no cloud, but it's still rain? Like, how am I supposed to stay in line? Motherfuckers all in my lane.